Have you ever been angry when life took away something you cherished? A trace, a moment, a small sense of pride. Brad felt the same until he realized what seemed like a loss had quietly saved his life. This is the story of a lonely man, a great wind, and a profound lesson about how life loves us in ways we never expect. Brad was a retired war veteran, living alone in a small wooden cabin near the pine forests of Montana. At the age of 68, he didn't have many relatives, only an old dog named Max to keep him company. Brad's life was as calm as a winter lake, quiet, somewhat lonely, but peaceful enough that he asked for nothing more. That winter was colder than usual. Snow fell thick and white across the mountain region. One morning, when the rare sunlight streamed through the snow-covered branches, Brad suddenly felt his heart flutter like a child's. He thought, "Today I'll go out for a walk. I have to enjoy this warm sunlight. Who knows when it'll come back?" Brad put on his thick coat, his wool hat, slipped into his heavy boots, and strolled with Max down the snow-covered path leading to the edge of the forest. He and Max left behind long, deep footprints in the untouched white snow. The cold wind blew gently, but the sunlight and the scenery made him feel alive. It had been a long time since he truly felt connected to the world. Brad stopped at a small hilltop, a spot where he could see the entire valley. He turned back to look at the footprints he had left in the snow, long, steady, clear, as if they were proof of the quiet existence of someone who had once been a soldier, once fought, once survived, and now was an old man full of reflection. He smiled, feeling lighthearted. But then, just a few minutes later, a sudden strong wind blew in, carrying snowflakes from the high branches above. In the blink of an eye, every trace he and Max had left disappeared completely. The snow surface returned to its untouched state, as if no one had ever walked there. Brad stood frozen. From pride, he shifted to anger. What the hell? I left something behind. A mark, and now there's nothing. As if I never existed. He clenched his teeth and looked up at the sky, as if blaming life itself. Why do you keep erasing everything of mine? I thought you were my friend, sunlight, nature, peace, but it turns out you're just another thief of the things I treasure most. Max stood beside him, silent, looking at his master with eyes full of loyalty and concern. Right at that moment, a crunching sound echoed. Brad turned his head and saw new footprints. Not his. Not Max's. They belonged to someone else, deep, sunken into the snow, following the old path he had just walked. A man dressed in camouflage. In his hands was a pair of binoculars. Brad realized it was a stranger, not someone from the area. Right after that, a pickup truck parked at the edge of the forest came into view. A hunting rifle was visible at the truck's door. Brad froze. At that moment, he understood. If it hadn't been for the strong wind and the snow covering the footprints, that man would have followed the trail and found him and Max. Maybe a poacher, maybe someone even more dangerous. In these woods, there was no shortage of strange things that even the police didn't want to get involved with. He turned to Max, his voice slightly trembling. "We were saved, buddy." He looked up at the sky, his gaze softening. Some things seem to ruin our joy, but in truth, they are life's quiet way of protecting us. Like the wind, sometimes it comes only to erase the footprints that the wrong people could follow. That night, Brad sat by the fireplace, gently stroking Max, who had fallen asleep on his lap. He closed his eyes and quietly said in his heart, "I'm sorry. I blamed you wrongly. Thank you for keeping me safe." From then on, he no longer felt angry when the snow erased his footprints, because he knew some things may look like loss, but in truth, they are hidden gifts. Message: life doesn't always go the way we expect. Sometimes what seems like a loss is actually a form of protection. Before blaming or judging something, try looking at it from a different angle. It might just be what's keeping you safe.